Hey, this is Alex from Graysand. In this video, I'll show you how I made a timber gate that's hidden into a timber screen. I designed the gate to be disguised into the screening and be invisible from the street. This design has functioned well in hiding the side access to the property with a nice panel of timber screening. First step of my hidden gate is to dig 2 holes for the post to go into. The finished height of my timber posts are going to be about 1.6 meters high, so I'll dig the holes to be 0.7 meters deep. Here's my dad calling by to have a chat and see what I'm up to. I asked him if he wanted to help with some digging. That's the fastest I've ever seen him run. This space is going to be the side access to the property, so I'm going to go through and level off the ground a bit. The hidden gate's width will be 1.60 m, so I'll set my post holes to leave the correct space for the gate to swing freely. I'm going to bolt a 90 by 90mm timber post onto the existing carport steel post to hang my timber gate from. The gate is designed to swing inwards and give the effect that from the front of the property there is only a solid timber privacy screen. The post that I'm bolting to the side of the steel will be made to be the exact same size and height of the gate frame. I need to pre-drill clearance holes in the timber post and steel. I'm going to utilise the existing steel post from the carport. The height of the gate will be 1560mm, therefore my outside timber post will be cut to match. I'm using 2 12mm galvanised bolts to attach the timber post to the steel. I'll drill and attach the bolts 150mm from the top and bottom. I'll then install the timber posts into the holes and brace them to be plumb and straight. To temporarily support my timber posts, I'll knock in a few timber pegs, then use some old timber framing to brace the timber posts into position. Before I install the posts, I'll add a few shovels of gravel into the bottom of the footing holes. To hold the post up plumb, I'll take a piece of timber, clamp it onto the post, and then screw it into the timber pegs. Then I use a 2-meter level to adjust the post to become plumb. I do this for both directions. I can then run a string line along the top and bottom to help install the middle post to be in the perfect position. When working by myself, I like to use a timber batten that is clamped to the timber post, which helps hold the post in the correct place. Before I temporarily brace my middle post, I'll just double check I got the correct distance for my gate. Once I'm happy with the width, I can clamp it into position and then put a temporary screw to hold it in place. I use my 2-meter level to plumb the post into position. The opening width will be 25mm larger than my gate size. To set the string line correctly, I'm using a 10mm packer set each end of the string line. I then use another 10mm packer to set the middle post to be in a straight line. The middle post is only attached at the bottom with a bugle screw into the temporary batten. I'll take my packer and slip it between the middle post and the string line to determine which direction I need to brace the post. I'll then get another piece of timber to use as a diagonal brace to brace the post to the timber peg. I'm using 75mm bugle headed screws to attach the bracing to the timber post and to the pegs. These bugle headed screws are going to be easy to remove once all the concrete is set. I will then use another brace to set the gate opening to be the correct size. I just screw one side of the brace to the fixed post and plumb the middle and clamp it off. As we know the outside posts are perfectly plumb, when we follow the string line to the middle post, you can see that the screen and gate are all set in a perfectly straight line. A string line is a useful tool whenever you want to build something in a straight line. I like to go through and use my packers to double check all my posts are plumb and straight before I mix up the concrete and set the posts into position. Before I mix up the concrete, I'm just going to go through with my 2-meter level and double check all the posts are plumb in both directions. Now that I'm happy with the set out, I can mix up some pre-mixed bags of concrete and fill in the holes. I'll finish the tops of the concrete pads with a slight angle away from the timber posts. This will allow for any water to drain away nicely. Once the concrete is set, I can go through and strip away all the temporary bracing that were holding my posts into position. This space, when finished, will be my side entrance walkway. So I've ordered a couple of ton of crushed granite to put down. The granite looks nice and compacts into a great ground covering. It's a useful product I like to use when landscaping. I'll pour it out over some weed mat, then use a straight edge to level and smooth it out. It had been raining quite a lot during the first day of this project, so it was really nice to see the sun finally come out. The next step is to cut my post to the correct height. I'll just run a straight edge from the top of the required height and mark the posts where I need to cut them. I'll make sure my circular saw is set to 90 degrees, then cut the post to the correct height. Now it's time to install the top of the screen frame. I'm going to recycle some old hardwood I have left over from another job. I enjoy using old hardwood in my carpentry projects. It helps save some money on material but adds a lot of labour to each project. For example, here I need to plane and dress this hardwood post to size. As I'm planing, I find lots of old nails that I need to punch in, so it ends up being a pretty good chance I'm going to destroy my planer blades. Now that the concrete is set, I can check the gate size. The finished width of the opening is 1 meter 88 millimeters. I'm aiming for about 14 millimeters of clearance between each side of the post and gate. This will allow me to overhang my hardwood screening 10 millimeters past each side of the gate to hide the gate into the timber screen. The gate frame will be completely hidden from the outside. I've designed it to appear to be a solid timber screen from the outside of the property. The gate height will be made to be the same height as the outside post, which is 1560 millimeters. Here I am again recycling some more old hardwood to use as bracing in the gate. It's hardly worth it as I keep hitting old nails that I didn't punch in properly and destroying my planer blades. Now I can start to build the gate. I'm using 90 by 45 millimeter H3 treated pine as the timber framing for the gate, and I'll also use some more reclaimed hardwood as a diagonal bracing in the frame to hold the gate square. Before I screw the gate together, I'll double check the width and height are correct. The gate is 1560 in height and 1060 in width. Once I've confirmed the gate size, I'll use two at 125mm 14 gauge bugle headed screws in each corner to screw the gate frame securely together. I'll add one more internal piece of framing to hold the gate straight. This middle piece of timber will also be my centre rail to screw the hardwood screening into. I'll then use some more reclaimed hardwood to hold the gate square. The hardwood braces are cut at 45 degrees each end to work as diagonal bracing. The gate will be quite heavy once all the hardwood screening is attached to it. The bracing will keep the gate square. The gate is almost ready. Now I can add the timbers that my hinges will attach to. I'm using gate hinges 150mm from the top and bottom. Because gate hinges are quite long, I'll add a piece of 90 by 45 on edge to screw the hinges into. I'll now give the gate 2 coats of a SolarGuard white paint called Surf Mist. This will be a nice contrast to the hardwood screening I attached to it. Next, I'll attach the gate hinges to the gate, 150mm from the top and bottom. Here's an image of the way that I attach the hinges to give the required space between the post and the gate. Before I install the gate, I'll use the same paint to paint the rest of the posts and screening material. I'll give everything 2 coats of this SolarGuard to make it all look pretty fresh in preparation for my screening material to get installed. Once everything is painted and looking nice, I'll transfer the height of the hinges onto the post that the gate will swing from. I place a few blocks on the ground to the required height, then I can carry the gate over to the correct position and screw it into place. I like to use plastic packers and clamps to hold the gate exactly where I want to secure it. Then I screw the hinges into the post. Now, as you can see, the gate swings freely. It opens and closes smoothly with 14mm parallel gaps between the post and the gate frame. If you're getting anything from the videos, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you're enjoying or learning anything, it'd be great if you could hit the like button. I would also be interested to hear any feedback in the comments below on what you think of the videos and how I can improve, as I'm still learning to film and edit. The next step is to match up the screening frame with the gate frame members. I'll line up the framing to match the same heights to achieve a straight screw line in the gate and the screen. All I need to do is level the heights, then attach the framing into position using 75mm screws. That's all the framing finished now. All that I have left to do is screw the hardwood framing onto the gate and screen. I'm using a 40 by 20mm hardwood for the timber screening. Before I install it, I'll apply 2 coats of a Cabot's exterior timber stain with a tint of grey in it. And the main reason I like to use this product is that it helps the timber weather into a grey colour that I think looks really nice. I'm then going to lay a couple of offcuts of timber levelled into the ground. I'll use this level to place the vertical timbers on top of. The next step is to cut all the timber screening to the correct length and pre-drill all the clearance holes for the screws. I pre-drill all the holes for the screws in the screening at the correct measurements. This allows me to simply screw the screening boards into position and all the screws will be completely straight. The next step in creating the hidden gate design is to do a set out so all the screening boards are set out evenly along the gate and the screen. As the gate is opening inwards, I just need to install the end boards of the gate overhanging 5mm past the frame. The gap between the frame and the post is 14mm, therefore if I overhang the screening board 5mm past the gate frame and post, it will leave about a 4mm gap. Once the end boards of the gate are screwed into position, it's just a simple set out to screw on the rest of the boards. I just measure the overall width and divide it evenly between the number of full boards and spaces that'll fit. I've explained this process in more detail in the other DIY screen videos I've previously made. But as you can see, all the boards are screwed on straight with even spaces. The end boards overhang 5mm past the gate frame to hide it from the outside view. Once I've screwed the gate screening boards into place, I continue along the screen using the same process. So I did it the slow way by installing each board individually. I still achieved the same result, but I'd estimate it took me about 3 times as long to screw all the boards on individually like this. A better way to do this set out would have been to attach every 5th board straight and plumb, then go back and fill in between every 5th board using timber wedges to achieve even spaces. I would have saved myself a lot of time using this technique, but it's all good. We had a 6-month-old baby in the house during this project, so I was probably quite sleep deprived, and I was surviving off coffee and green tea to get me through each day. So now to finish the project, I continued to the end of the frame, screwing all the hardwood boards into position. Once the set out is done and all the boards are pre-drilled, it's an easy process screwing the hardwood screening into place. Okay, so that's the end of the project. This footage is about 18 months after the gate and screen were built. As you can see, the gate functions really well, opening and closing smoothly. The gate is super strong. I can stand and hang from it in my cool dad Crocs, no worries. Let me know of any suggestions you have for me to improve my videos without me giving up my Motorola camera phone that I've been using to film with. Thanks for watching to anyone that made it to the end of the video.